Republicans in Hollywood, it's kind of a crazy concept when it comes to actors, kind of a contradiction in terms. But there are more of them out there than what you may realize when you do the research. I'm not going to name all of them, but they are out there. There's more of them than what you may think. They do exist out there. Republicans in Hollywood, when it comes to acting, is kind of a shocking thing for some people. When it comes to making movies, I really think it's about making the best movies you can make, and that would apply to really any job. It's about whether you can do the job or not. In this video, I'm going to talk about the issues with Republicans in Hollywood and how people, I think, can get along better in society. I think what somebody believes politically really has nothing to do with a job or a career and should not really figure into a job when most people work for, say, a corporation. It should come down to, like I said earlier, whether you can do that job or not. That's what it should come down to in any economic system. I always separated my private views from any job I was in at any one given time in my life. I really didn't get into my private life or what I believe politically to a certain degree in any job. I largely did not get into this unless I was asked. I separated my personal life and my job life from politics. So at any one given time in any job I was in at that time, on a full-time level, I really didn't get into politics. In fact, when I worked further back for other people or for companies or whatever I was in at that time, unless people asked me, I really didn't get into politics. So some people didn't even realize that I was even involved in politics as a political activist or working for politicians when I worked in those jobs at any one given time. All of this can be done. People need to try harder in America. They need to try harder to get along with each other. Like I said, when I was in jobs, a lot of people didn't even know I was involved in politics, and I still am. I'm still involved in it, usually in presidential years. People should be able to separate their private philosophy and politics from a job. People can do this if they really want to, in my opinion. I was a fan of the late actress Shannon Doherty. You may remember her from 90210 fame on TV. She died about a year ago of cancer at a relatively young age in her 50s. I believe she will be missed by some people in the industry. I was a big fan of her performance in the late 80s in the famous dark comedy movie Heathers about public high school. I was also a fan of her independent career. She did a lot of independent movies off and on from the late 90s up until almost recent times. I liked her independent film Striking Poses about journalism in 1999. So I was a fan of hers and I was really into a lot of her movies. I think she summed up the issue well of Republicans in Hollywood, maybe better than anyone. They are a minority economically and socially in Hollywood. I think she summed up the issue very, very well in a 2012 interview with Complex magazine. If you want to read her bio, it's on Wikipedia, and that's where I got the quote from. I think she summed up the issue with them better than anyone. And so here is the quote. I realize that the majority of people in the entertainment business happen to be Democrats. I have no problem with that. And they should have no problem with the fact that I am a Republican. I think that's the way the business world should work, whether it's Hollywood or not. The workforce should work like that. It's all about what you can do in a job for a company or whoever. It's about making a profit. It's about making money. It's about expanding your career. It's not about politics. And I think she summed up the issue very, very well. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration. My next video is going to be on why and how politics has actually entered the dating scene, which I think is a really bad idea and thus a really bad idea for America. Thank you again. It's free to subscribe.